Alright, so if you're a guitarist or a musician at all, you may have heard this idea that you can omit the fifth from a lot of chords. Is that true? Yes, it is. But why can you do that? Well, like pretty much everything in music, it's all about relationships. Let's dig into this a little. So conventionally, Western music is, for the most part, based on tertian harmony, or harmony built around stacked thirds. The most basic harmonies, or chords, that we use are triads, chords that contain 3 notes. There's really only 4 kinds. You have major chords, minor chords, augmented chords, and diminished chords. We'll just look at these to start. So each one of these contains a root, a third, and a fifth. What if we omit the fifth from all of these? Which one is which? You can't tell. Now that doesn't mean you can't omit the fifth in some of them, but I'm going to circle back to that at the end. Now let's just take the major and minor triads and we'll expand them to the basic types of major and minor 7th chord. That gives us a major 7th chord, a dominant 7th chord, a minor 7th chord, and the less conventional minor major 7th chord. That one's kind of weird. So all 4 of these have a pretty distinct sound, right? But just to explain this visually, let's put them all next to each other. Now let's do what we did earlier and just remove the fifth from all of them. That leaves behind the root, the third, and the 7th. Can you tell the difference between them? Of course, they're all different. Let's go the other way. Let's take out the third and the 7th from each chord and only leave the root and the 5th. And look at that, they're all the same. So what does this mean? This means that the 5th tells you nothing about the quality of the chord. And this isn't just true on paper, it translates to when you actually play them. So, should you just leave it out? It depends a little on the situation. We could get into hypotheticals, but the main thing you have to remember is this. Including the 5th will do practically nothing to enhance the harmony. Leaving it out will do practically nothing to detract from the impact of the harmony. Also, leaving it out means you have fewer notes to play, which means it's easier, and it frees up some of your fingers, which opens up some different possibilities for voicing chords. You can just take the root, the third, and the 7th of any of these chords and just place them anywhere on the neck where you can reach all of them. So using C major 7 as an example, I want to look for anywhere on the neck that I can reach the notes C, E, and B. No matter how I voice those 3 notes, the listener will always feel the impact of a major 7th chord, and that's what matters. It's all because of the pitch relationships within the chord. Those relationships produce a specific synergetic quality. It's one of the many reasons music is so cool. So to circle back, when should you not omit the 5th? The answer is simple. Don't omit the 5th when it's telling you something. So to illustrate that, let's look at those 4 triads we looked at in the beginning. So I'll take the C major chord and I'll leave out the 5th. So I'll just play C and E. Okay, so that feels major, right? Now if I take the augmented chord and leave out the 5th, it's the same thing. Now I'll play C major with the 5th. Now C augmented with its 5th. So the 5th is telling us something here. One of the ingredients of an augmented chord is that augmented 5th interval. That's part of what gives the chord its unique sound. But if I leave the 5th out, your ear defaults to hearing that as major. I think that is so interesting. There's a certain scientific acoustic reason for this, but I'm not going to get into that because it's way beyond the focus of this video. The same idea applies to diminished triads and any kind of diminished 7th chord. In those chords, the 5th is lowered to form a diminished 5th interval, which is one of the ingredients of a diminished chord, and it's also why they're called diminished chords. You gotta play the 5th in those chords because it contains information about the harmony. So, can you omit the 5th from chords? Yes, but only if it's not telling you anything. If it is, then you gotta play it. This has been another episode of Alex over-explains some random music theory thing. I hope it created a deeper understanding for you. And I'll see you next week.